risky one. Sheds hit the fan, we're overrun. Sending boys in the trucks with the 50 cals. Tell every swinging neck, bring extra rounds. Hang in now, boys, we're on our way. Don't send them on to heaven before we get a taste. Whoa, cry havoc, let's slip the doors away. What you gonna do?
And happy Sunday to you folks. Welcome to another edition of the Double S Podcast. Hey, before we get going too much further, when you're joining in here, just understand there's a reason why we're not responding to you. It's because we are not live. This is a recorded episode. It's not that I'm like ignoring you. We love you. We appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you checking out this. It's the holiday season though, y'all. So Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And yeah, that's why we've got this as a recorded episode here. We are spending time with family, which as we know is the number one most important piece out there. And yeah, so that's why. But this has been an interview long time coming. I am super excited. We're bringing the man himself, Mr. Greg from Vicious Fishing, is coming in here, and he is going to be chatting with us about Vicious. You guys know us. You know we've been with Vicious Fishing for a long, long time. If you've been out on one of our events, you know, you see the bag that I open up with Vicious line everywhere, and that's what we're loading up on your reels, lines, and all that good stuff. And like I tell you, that next to the terminal tackle is the lifeline between you catching a fish and cashing a check, or just catching a fish for a memory and not. So yeah, you don't play around. That's why we don't. We get vicious. We got our gear out there, and so we've got him in here. Hey, before we get rolling, first, before we pay the bills, this can be a tough time of year, right? For some folks out there. I'm going to remind you, this is like the weekend after Christmas that you're seeing this. But I want to remind you, if you got somebody on your list, do that buddy check, okay? Reach out. Check on folks. Let them know, remind them how important they are to you. Let them know that you're thinking about them. Dude, go grab some coffee. Go grab a beer. Go out, grab lunch, whatever. I don't care. Just call them, text them, whatever it is. Buddy check time. Make sure you're doing it. I'm challenging each one of you. Find 5 people on your list. 5 people that you know that you're thinking about. Don't wait, okay? Reach out to them. Chat with them. Let them know that that we're out there and that you're out there and that you want to know how they're doing and make sure everything's good. All right, let's pay the bills. Every episode of the Double S Podcast brought to you by the Romans Warrior Foundation. Hashtag helping is healing. Go check them out at romanswarriorfoundation.org. You know our work with those guys. Mr. Brian Romans is a guy that I consider part of my family. He is a brother of mine. And has taught me a ton in this space here. We bring healing across this nation in many different forms. One of the major ones for the Romans Warrior Foundation, of course, is the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance, the GWAT Wall. Go give that a check. If you got an event going on in your local area and you want to take it to the next level, bring some real healing into that community, get a hold of them, get the wall in there. It's the only mobile monument right now still. I know there's some in the works, but we are still the only mobile monument that is dedicated to the entire GWAT era. Okay, that's 1983 forward. Okay, that's pretty much my generation, your generation, if you're in the same range as me. It's our generation's Vietnam Wall, man. And so that's basically what they're bringing across there. If you haven't seen it, you want to, go check it out. Our little nonprofit, the True Patriot Outfitters. Fishing with a mission, y'all. That's what we're doing. We're out there. Go check us out at truepatriotoutfitters.org if you think you can support and help us on this. We need that support. We need to keep this thing moving forward. 2026 is scheduled to be probably a banner year for us. We got a lot of things working right now, and quite frankly, all we need to do is keep the operating budget moving, and of course, we got those trailer needs. We need to be able to get our trailers on, or our kayaks on scene here, so if you think you can help us in that area, please reach out, let us know. None of this is possible without Heroes Media Group, Mr. Adam Bird, all the great podcasts out there. There's something for everybody pretty much every night of the week. Go check them out at Heroes Media Group. And the sister company, of course, HMG Beverage. Coffee. 26 might even bring some cool news from TPO and HMG working together on something like this. But for right now, go hit up that Kickstart. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed at all. And tonight's episode, of course, Vicious Fishing, man. Go check them out at web at getvicious.com and all the socials at Vicious Fishing. Check out that lineup there. You are going to enjoy that. All right. I think that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's Christmas season. It's kind of over if you're watching this now. Reminder, one more time, we're not live. That's why we're not responding to you. Don't think we're ignoring you. Leave your comments. We'll get back to them. If you got a question for Greg during this whole thing, leave the comments in here. I'll make sure he sees it. I'll forward it on to him there later down the line there. So make sure to throw that in there. We appreciate you. Of course, and smash that subscribe button if you're coming in from YouTube. That's a big help to us. All right, that's it. Paid the bills. I'm going to stop yapping. We're going to get the man himself in here. Let's bring him in. What's happening, Greg? How are you, sir?
Good morning. Good morning. We're gearing up for Christmas here.
Right. By the time folks see this, they've already been done. But yeah, just so you know,
already been there.
We're recording before he gets here. That's right. Hey, man, I'm gonna admit something. On this recording here. So I've been with Vicious for many Christmas, 7-8 years now. I've used your products
probably longer than even I've owned it. I would guess you were with us prior to me buying it.
It could be. And I've relied on it from there. So because you'll notice I tiptoed around something. I don't want to murder it because I am not the brightest bulb in the box. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Meunier.
Meunier.
The best way I can tell you, if you've ever seen it spelled out, you'll never say it right again because it looks funny. But what we always tell people is it rhymes with junior. It just says
Meunier.
Exactly. It's exactly the same. And that's the only way I've ever been to get it done. And, my kids are in sports or whatever, and they're going to announce it. I'm like, hey, it's junior with an M, and they can get it right every time. So once you see it spelled, it won't feel that way. But
perfect.
Yeah.
So my son's name is Ryan, and we spell it old Gaelic Scottish way of Ryon.
Okay.
And so you wouldn't believe the amount of people like Ryan, Ron. What is this? It's like Ryan. It's simple.
Yeah. Awesome. So I got to tell you, this is the first podcast I've ever been on that started with a warning. I think that's a good thing. I like that. I've not been a part of one of these that said, hey, warning, maybe some content you don't want to know here. Be careful.
One of the things that came up I was with another network at one time, and a few of my guests I had on there were some Marine combat vets. And when you get fired up and get them rolling on some stories, dude, the stuff starts flying. There are also other networks that won't allow it whatsoever because they broadcast on a certain radio, platform. Yeah. And we respect that, but we always tell people that, hey, no, we're not going to do anything lewd or anything like that, but there's going to be grown ass men in here talking, and we're going to use some verbiage here and there. And so we just try to warn folks of the whole thing. Yeah, there could be some language.
I feel a lot better. I feel easy now. That's good.
Exactly. And Adam has been behind us with the Heroes Media Group. He's like, hey, as long as it's legal, you do what you want to do, buddy.
I like it. I'm good. I just wanted you to know I appreciated it.
You bet.
Well, where we stand right out of the gate.
And you see that the roots of the name of our podcast is definitely came from a Marine, which is, that's the term they use. It's going to be a shit show, so I told them, I was like, guys, I can't name the podcast The Shit Show because I'm going to be at like a chamber event trying to get people to come on. And I can't say, hey, you want to be on the shit show? I was like, so we'll come up with another name. How about Double S? How about that?
We all know what it stands for.
Exactly. Yeah. All the guys, they got it. So
I got you.
Playing games. Well, listen, let's go down the list here, man. First and foremost, Vicious Fishing.
Yeah.
You got a hold of this organization when? When did you take ownership?
October 1st of 2018.
2018.
Hard to believe. It has, as we were talking, it has flown by. It's hard to believe that we've had it here in Indiana, for this many years already. And every day is a different day, but we love it and have been very happy to have it. But I'd worked for them. I was there before the first line was shipped. I was a consultant for them for many years in marketing, and then came on full time in 2012. Was approached by the family in 2018 that owned it and said, we're kind of ready to move on from from fishing and manufacturing. And so, Corey and I talked about it and decided, let's try it. I don't know where it's going to go, but let's take a leap of faith and we'll make it work. So here we are.
That's awesome, man. And I do remember that. Mind you, I got old man syndrome here, but I do remember that stopover because I think I started. It was either 16 or 17 is when I.
Yeah, I think you were with us prior to us owning it. I managed all that stuff at that time, so I knew you, but.
And all I had really done back then was it was just from the pro staffing side of things because I was a competitive angler back then and trying to cut my way in. See if I could, go try to make by the way, spoiler alert, there is no living to be made as a professional angler. You better have other things in the works. We were talking, one of the best memes I ever saw, and you and I were talking about that, one of the fastest way to become a millionaire in this industry is to start off as a billionaire because you'll get there real fast.
Yeah, I feel that. I know what you're saying. I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a chance to interview and talk to several of the pros out there, Mike McClellan, Josh Bertrand, Fletcher's brother, Hunter, is one of my favorite dudes I've ever had a chance to chat with. I love Hunter, man. He's such a good dude.
I've not met him, but I've heard he's a good guy.
Oh man, yeah, just right to the core. You can tell, just a great, grounded dude. And we talk about that. It's like, you need to be good at two things in this deal. Number one, driving. Okay, you got to be okay with that. You got to be a part-time truck driver and spending money because you're going to do both of those things a lot.
Yeah, you're betting on yourself. Every tournament you get out there, the amount of money you spend getting there, for sure, you're betting on yourself to do well when you get there. It's a tough road for sure.
It is, and for me, it just adds even more respect to the folks that have the ability to do that. That have the bandwidth.
They're entrepreneurs. I mean, they're built just like an entrepreneur. That you're taking risks and you're hoping you can make it pay off at some point. But it's not the easiest route to go to make money for sure.
You can't be in it for that, right? It's not making money. You got to be in it because you truly love it. The grind, you got to embrace that grind, and relationships, right? Yeah,
it's very, very similar, to working in the industry as a privately owned company. Family-owned business, every day is a grind, and I can't say it's the dream. It's you don't come into it thinking, oh, I'm going to buy an island someday. That's not the case, and I was fortunate. Some may come into it that way. I had worked with the business for 12 years prior to that. I knew exactly what I was getting into, and Corey and I did not buy this company thinking, oh, we can find a way to make a lot of money. It was an opportunity for us to raise our kids and be in control of raising our kids, see our kids grow up, not have to ask permission, not have to worry about taking vacation days. If our kids are doing something at school, we can say, hey, we're going over there today, and that's what it's going to be. And so, beautiful days during the summer, if I didn't, if Eli calls and says, hey, I want to go fishing, sounds great. I just shut down and we go fishing. That's why we did it. We really, as we talked about it, like I said, we knew what we were getting into. We knew it wasn't, some cash cow, something that was going to just set us up for life, but it was going to allow us to raise our kids, because at that time our kids were
so important.
No, they were young. I think 6 and 8 whenever we bought this thing, and so they've grown up with the business, like they've been around it their entire lives, and so now they're at 15 and 18 here working with us, part-time,
so cool.
Helping ship orders and clean the warehouse, and they're around, and that's awesome. And so those are things that you can't replace, the memories and the things and the bonds we've built just traveling together and going to things, stuff that I'd have never had if I'd have just stayed in corporate America working at an office. So I'll never regret the decision to jump over here for sure.
Brother, you got it, man. You are dialed in. You are on target 100%. That is, coming from a guy that's got a pair of adult kids, I did early on when I was chasing the dollar. I missed out on some stuff, and it's what got me out of chasing the dollar and, moving over into some other areas that would give me a little more flexibility. But you're 100% dialed in there. Vicious has always been like the thing that got me from day one about Vicious Fishing, and when you took over, it just hammered it home even further with product offerings and such, which was you can do performance grade level product at an affordable price. It didn't have to be this premium gold label, maneuver. And make no mistake, I've used every brand under the sun. And 2 years ago, I'll openly admit this to you, boss. I'll tell you straightforward. I kept promoting, right? But personally, for competition, I thought to myself, well, okay, I guess I better go out and spend this ridiculous money. So I did. Oh my God, buyer's remorse. I'm sitting here going, this crap does nothing that my whole locker over here can't already do. And I can get this at a fraction of the cost. And quite frankly, I still think this performs better than what this expensive stuff was doing for me. There was not enough difference there of any kind. As a matter of fact, in most cases, it just failed. And so, yeah, I became one of those, well, I guess I'll wander. And boy, did I understand that that's not greener grass over there.
No,
so I'm all in now.
And we always have. This goes way back. The family that owned it before me, Jeff and his family, and then us. We're not going to sell anything that doesn't work. It's just not even an option. We test everything. We've got a great pro staff that we can send stuff to when we're developing things. We're just not going to do it. We're going to stand behind it 100%. Not saying, there's times bad spool gets out there, but I know if someone calls me, we've been selling it long enough. If they call me and they're saying stuff's breaking, then either they're doing something wrong, and I can usually figure that out pretty quickly through a conversation on what they're doing, or it's a bad spool and we send them a new spool and everything gets handled. So we back our product 100%. We know the quality is there. Guys at the top level are catching them. I've got guys off the coast catching 800-pound fish on this stuff. It works. We know it works. So we have no concerns with the quality for sure.
Dude, and early on in his career, Fletcher was with a competitor, and he was deep with them. I mean, they were like title for him. And so when I saw that he swapped over as well, I'm just like, that just made me feel even better about my decision to stick with it. And, back in those days, I'm like, okay, if Fletch is coming over here, man, that had to be something that triggered him to go, okay, yeah, no, this is the way I need to go with this.
Hey, I'm going to tell you what, I've never met a guy that's more into his product, the details of his product than Fletcher. He is so deep into the thought about what every single thing is and how it works and what it does. Awesome guy to have around when you're starting to talk about new products or does this product work or testing things. Nice. Because he's going to test it and he's going to check it out thoroughly. So when he called me and said, hey, I'd like to come over, it was a great fit for us because we knew we had the product and, he since has tested us to a point that he's got full trust in what we're doing. But he really came over, more than anything. He said, look, it's not about the money. I just don't want to be a number. I want to be able to pick up the phone and I want to call somebody if I need something. I know they're going to do everything they can to get me what I need. And that was the conversation he and I had several years ago when he moved over here. Was let's do something here that's just not about dollars and cents. We're going to do something that it's going to build a relationship, and we're going to support you in every way we can. And he understood that. I had to be honest with him. We're not pure fishing. I'm not big enough to just write you a blank check. We're going to have to make this thing work, but. That's not what it was about. It was more about building a relationship and having a company that he knew he could call and get some support. So that's how that all started and has been great.
I have found that over the course of the years, having a nonprofit working in this space, that the best relationships we've had have come from good collaboration, right? Sure, it's great when when obviously people donate stuff to the nonprofit, but never at the same time, something, we tell people, hey, I want you to be successful too. So if we've got a budget here, let's work this out so that it's good for you. It's good for us. Everybody's benefiting from this thing, and so, yeah, that's so cool. And that makes total sense that Fletcher, like I said, I've had a chance to speak with his brother at length, interviewing him at the Classic actually a couple of years ago. And, it was one of my favorite conversations. Actually, I still remember he gave me one of the best compliments because I had done my homework the night before on Hunter's resume. Yeah. I was looking up things and I mentioned a couple of these things to him and he's like, he looked at me, he goes, dude, you actually have looked me up. I'm like, well, of course I have, Hunter. I got a chance to speak with you. He's like, thank you so much, man. That means a lot. And I'm like, well, of course, brother. Yeah. I mean,
I'll tell you what,
mutual respect.
And like I said, I don't know Hunter, but what they'll surprise you is they've got this motocross X Games kind of background, and you kind of have a pre-deceived notion of what they're going to be.
Exactly.
And they're not that at all.
Exactly.
Fletcher is not at all what I thought he was before meeting him in person. I just, to be honest, whenever he was first, somebody said, "Hey, Fletcher, I'd like to talk to you." I was like, okay, here we go. It's just not the type of people that, that we typically deal with. We tend to work with and support family guys, and, we don't want anything too outlandish. We're trying to stay pretty conservative, and turned out after talking to him for a little while, like, wow, you're not at all what I thought you were. Awesome. Perfect. So it's been great. Like I said, Fletcher's great. We've got a great pro staff. The guys we're working with on tour is a small group, but great guys that I know I can count on. If I call them, they're going to answer the phone. Likewise, if they call me, I'm going to answer the phone. If I don't, I'm going to be right back to you, and we're going to do whatever we got to do to help you out and take care of things.
This is a great segue too, because we've established the fact we know we've got the product, the price point is there, all these things are in place, but there's something bigger in this, and people that know me know that I look for this in the people that I line up with, especially from the TPO side, is there's got to be something more to it. And at the very core of Vicious, probably the one t-shirt I get the most comments on when I'm out walking around is my Faith, Family, and Fishing t-shirt on the back.
Yeah.
And now it's been that same line, but it's Faith, Family, and Tradition. This is at the core of Vicious Fishing, man. Seeing from your main website all the way through, family and faith is right there. And that is such a major, major point. It's a positive reason why I want to be associated personally, and I want my nonprofit associated with your organization. What led you to that? Because you're coming from corporate America, dogs. I know it. That's dog eat dog out there.
Yeah, we did, and it was a fun time when I was younger. That corporate world was fun, but as you mature, you get a family. You obviously kind of go back to your roots, and that's kind of what happened with me after a few years being out there traveling and chasing corporate. Got an opportunity, and to be honest with you, I was chasing corporate. Vicious was a customer, and I always found myself wanting to go hang out with those guys. I'm like, I'm at these 7-course dinner things going on at the Classic, and these guys are going, hey, I'm going over to B-Dubs and we're going to have beer and wings. I'm like, I want to go with those guys. Like, what are we doing? They're having fun and we're over here and this is not fun. Like, this doesn't even make sense. We should be having a lot more than they're having. And so that I think that kind of was it. And as you get married, you have kids, you kind of, like I said, you come back to your roots. I grew up in a family that was very blue collar. Faith was always at a part of our family. I'll never pretend to be a preacher. I'm not. I'm not going to hit you over the head with stuff, but we have our beliefs and support those beliefs, and we'll tell you that we do. And so as Corey and I bought this, we struggled with if you see our packaging, we've got our scripture on there, and it was something that she and I talked a lot about. Like, what do we want to do? We didn't want to be preachy, and at the end of the day, we came to basically treating others the way you want to be treated. And we feel like if the entire world would just treat people the way they want to be treated, everything would solve itself. Like it immediately would make the world a better place. And so we kind of came to that commitment that we were going to put this on our package and, do to others what you'd have them do to you. And if that bothers you, then we probably are not the brand for you. We're probably not the company for you. And that was okay. We were going to live by that. And, that's the way we treat our customers. If somebody calls me, I always think, well, if I had an issue with something, what would I want that person to do for me?
Yeah.
So that's whether it's replacing product or, right now it's this time of the year, you can't get stuff out. The postal service is just very slow. So, I've got customers now calling because it kind of caught us off guard at the beginning. And so now it's like, hey, my stuff's been shipped 2 weeks ago and I still don't have it. What can you do? Well, I can't do anything about the postal service. It's out there. It will eventually get there. But at the end of the day, we're going to do what we have to. So, it's like, well, if you don't have it by Friday, call me and we'll just ship another one to you, and we'll use, UPS, and we'll make sure we 2-day it and you'll have your stuff. So that's the stuff that, I would expect as a customer. If I called somebody, say, hey, take care of me. I know it's not your fault, but at the end of the day, I need you to take care of me. And that way we operate our business.
Yeah.
And I think that, like I said, if everyone would do it that way, I think the world would just be a better place. So that was kind of where it centered for us, was the family, faith. We just felt like it was the right fit for us and who we were.
I love it. I love it, man. And it's always, in full disclosure, it was this past year that I had a return to my faith. I mean, I shouldn't say it that way. We all have faith in something somewhere.
Yeah.
I had to return to a relationship now with God that it took a few things, it took a lot of years for it to come back around because I had it as a kid and I had it as a young man, and then it kind of strayed and,
Mhm.
questioned, a lot of silly stuff. And a few things took place, and I've come back, and now I have what I believe is a great budding relationship where I'm learning, and trying to listen better. And so, yeah, it resonated with me more and more and more when I see it out there. And so you tend to gravitate towards, those side of things. But it's more importantly, especially in our world, in the fishing game, it is a small industry. People don't
Very.
realize that. And so reputation, name, how you treat others, how you treat other organizations, this stuff gets around and it's known now more than ever. If we're going to thrive, right, in the fishing industry, we do have to make sure that this is one team, right? We all got a purpose here trying to move it.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what vicious fishing is about, man, is never poo-pooing on anything else out there, just very confident in what we bring to the field, right? And
Yeah.
I love the roots and the grounding. That's maybe the best thing is that anchor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exactly what you guys have here, which is amazing. Love it. And
We've,
hammers it
my
home.
marketing guy and we have a lot of conversations, and it's a lot of philosophical stuff on where the industry is. He's been in the industry a long time too, and worked for a reputable media group and has seen a lot, talked to a lot of the manufacturers over the years. So he and I've had a lot of conversation, and we just feel like the industry almost needs to gravitate back to the roots of what was fishing. There's so much negative out there right now, and the last thing we need in this industry is negative.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people out there who have no interest in the outdoors that are already against us. So we have to work together. And at the end of the day, it's not complicated. We all like to fish. There's a lot of stuff in the tournament stuff that people are all negative. It's like, we're going fishing. How can there be negative? This is not a negative space. We're fishing. Like, this is fun. And, regardless of what you think about different technologies or whatever, at the end of the day, we're all going fishing. And so I think people forget that sometimes, to get caught up. And a little bit, there's some players in the market that maybe were not in it before, that don't bring those values, did not grow up in it, don't have that history. But that was kind of our marketing. If you saw our stuff come out, around ICAST, the unapologetically American, that was not a political statement. That was just saying, let's go back to the roots of fishing. Let's, if I shake your hand and tell me I'm going to do something, I'm going to do everything I can to do to make that happen. If I can't, I'll also be upfront with you that, hey, I'm not able to do that right now, but here's when I can, or what I can do. It's communication. It's treating people right. Those are the things that we feel are critical to our industry if we're going to fully come out here and have some success, and not let the outside forces kind of push us away. So,
Well, and I wanted to ask that because I had a few things take place this past year that really triggered some things for me inside my head that I acted on and moved forward. And when I saw it couldn't have been at a better time. When I saw you come out and you were very straightforward in your statements, this has nothing to do with politics. Just, what this has something to do is we're very proud of our roots. We're proud of our heritage, and we are the Unapologetic American campaign was launched. Was there some things that took place that made you double down on that? Or is that just like, this was in the works anyway, and we just decided now is a great time to let it fly?
Yeah, no, I think it's been in the works. I brought this new marketing guy in, and like I said, he's been in the industry a long time. So he and I started talking right out of the gate, and it really came out of just, again, I'm not going to say complaining, but discussion around what's going on. Why are people arguing? How can we be so negative? Like, what is this? Why are people acting this way? And, there's options out there. If you want to use the new technology, use it. If you don't. If you don't like a trail that has it, don't fish that trail, fish this trail. Yep. There's other things out there. And then, to be honest, in the fishing industry, it's easy to get caught up in the tours, the trails, because that's what media covers. That's, it comes back to, this is what you actually see and hear. But by far and away, the vast majority of this industry does not tournament fish. They're average people out fishing farm ponds. They're having fun.
Thank you.
They don't know a single touring pro. They couldn't tell you a name, and they don't care. And so we kind of started thinking like, if we want to be the brand for the masses, then we should act like the masses. Like, we're not trying to be the tour best on tour product. That's not our goal. We want to be a product the everyday average guy can use. He can feel good about it. He's not going to have trouble. He can afford it. And that's who we are. And so, I can't say it was anything that triggered it. It was just something that, we just have a gut feel that it's where the industry needs us. And so we're going to play that part, good or bad. It's the trail we're going down. We're going to go that way. Like I said, it goes back to your faith, family traditions, heritage, believing in that, going back to your roots, remember why you got into this. And if everybody starts doing that, it's going to have a better feel-good story for this fishing industry that we feel is just critical for the industry at this point.
I couldn't agree more, man. And I'll tell you, I hit a struggle bus in my competitive side for 2.5, 3 years, it felt like. And no matter how hard I worked, no matter what I did, I couldn't get out of it. And it was only last year when I said, you know what? I've done my bid for King and Country. We're so busy with the TPO now that if I put a little bit extra time there, I'll keep myself even more busy. Tournament fishing is going to take a back seat from here on out. I had already kind of stepped away from the tournament angling advertising game, right? It's like I don't want people to, if they're working with me, I want them to be working with me because of the TPO, not because of what I'm doing. I'm 53, dude. Social media can kick rocks. I have no tolerance for it. And I'll tell you, it just, we didn't find any real true ROI of any kind for our nonprofit from it. It's like, no, it never once brought in a piece of funding. It didn't put a butt in a kayak. It didn't really do anything for us on the nonprofit side. So I literally this year pulled back the TPO I deactivated our accounts on Instagram and Facebook and just left my personal one out there. And I'm like, no, I'll post what I want to post on one account. I don't have to schedule crap. I'm just going to, we're going to keep it simple.
Yeah.
So I feel you, man, when it comes to that. And I had that same epiphany, and lo and behold, soon as I went back to my roots and I told myself something you said several times, I'd be out there on the lake in the middle of a tournament, and I'd sit there and I'd start smiling, and I'd look around, I'd put my rod down. I didn't hear that clock ticking anymore. And I'm like, how can I be mad? I'm fishing right now. Are you kidding me? So what if my, reel blew up on me? So what if something wasn't right or whatever? I'm fishing, dude. How bad can it be right now?
I think the world needs to disconnect. It's something that I started, I would say it was probably around July. I found this feature on my phone that's personal. And at 5:00 every day, my phone goes into personal mode.
Love it.
There is a hand selected group of my family and a couple of friends in my area. And if they call, my phone will ring. Otherwise, my phone does not ring after 5:00, and it comes back on at 5:30 the next morning. It kicks back into regular mode. I don't see anything on my screen for emails. I get no notifications. And it has been awesome. I decided I kind of wanted, it's a little bit what we're talking about. I kind of wanted to go back. So on the weekend, 5:00 on Friday, it kicks on. And unless I choose to go see if I received a phone call, I don't see it. I wanted to go back to the days when you walked in, you had to check a message, an answering machine.
Yep.
Any calls when I came back in. And so that has been awesome. It does help you disconnect. It helps you recenter. As I was telling my buddies, if I'm out on the lake on Saturday and I'm fishing, I'm having a good time, and I see a message come across my phone that says email, and I look at it and it's a customer who's having a bad day because, he got a bad spool from us, it just ruined the rest of my day. And there's nothing I can do about it until Monday.
Yep.
And so I think that has become a big deal. I, at one point, deleted all my social medias, did very similar to what you did, and decided I wasn't going to do it anymore. But, what I missed was memories, seeing my friends and families, kids, and what they're doing. And, and so at that point, I decided I'm going to get back on social media. But what I decided to do was, if anybody gets on there and they start talking politics or they start complaining about stuff, I'll snooze them so I don't see their stuff for a while. And if it comes back on and they're still doing it, they're just gone. And I just have decided I'm not going to let the negatives of the media that I can control be in my life, because life's pretty good. I mean, I'm healthy. I've got a great family. I've got a great group of friends. I work in a great industry. Life is not bad, but the media can definitely make you think it's bad if you just let them in there. So
Yeah.
I decided I was just going to kind of cancel it as best I could.
Yeah, and that's why we just deactivated from the nonprofit game, right? Just pulled it back from there. I still like you. I still have a personal, but you're in a different ball game. You guys have e-commerce and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We're in a different situation over here how we present to it. But I love it, dude. That you like you said, we're fishing. At the end of the day, that's what we're doing. Calm it down a little bit. That's another thing at your website. I'm gonna pull this up here real quick. At your website, this section right up here, I'm going to full screen this real fast for folks. This section right here, how to choose fishing line. I absolutely love this. This is a no BS straight rundown of probably the three biggest lines. You got mono, floral, and braided. Now there's other kinds out there people will talk about, but these are your three main, lines that you're going to deal with. And I love the fact that this is something I actually started throwing mono again in a lot of situations. For the longest time, I thought I had to get rid of it. Right, I used 12 inches of it for a leader for my spooks. That's about all I used, mono for. Yeah. But now I've got several rods now lined up with mono back on there, and it works just fine.
Yeah,
I'm catching more fish now than I have in the past, and yeah, it's doing great.
When you go back and you start looking at fishing and fishing lines in particular, it was easy because it became very popular. Again within the touring groups to talk about fluorocarbons and braids. Credit to them, credit to the companies that help market that stuff. But as I started really researching and talking to guys, monofilament's got a very valid spot within fishing. For the majority of people, it probably does all they ever need it to do. It's the least expensive option to get into. And so I started really digging into a little bit, with suppliers and manufacturers for us, what's the difference? What's the difference between fluorocarbon and monofilaments? And it's not as much as you think. It kind of comes down to a cost thing. Like, how much does that little bit of clarity mean to you? How much does that abrasion resistance mean to you? But they're more similar than not. And in a lot of cases, you could interchange them and probably not notice the difference. And so, I've always been a big braid guy because, you would think owning a fishing line company, I would change my line all the time, but I'm kind of lazy about it. And so braid just lasts forever. And
right.
I'm not a tournament guy. I'm out here fishing for fun. Most of the time when I'm fishing, I don't really care if I catch one or not. I just want to be out there. And so if I don't have to do any extra work besides just jump out there and fish, the one place where I have learned that I've got to start working a little harder is when I fish with my son, because everything's a competition, and he is way more dedicated to making changes and trying to figure out a pattern than I am. And so all of a sudden there was a time when I could always outfish him and never had to worry about it. But today I'm pretty sure he's going to beat me most of the time. He's 15 and he will change a bait every 5 casts if it takes that to figure out what he's going to catch him on.
It's scary, right?
It's fun. I enjoy it. I love watching that development. Luckily for me, he's a very, very competitive kid. I don't think he's had a taste of tournament fishing yet. Little concerned that could happen, but
a little concerned. I love it.
There's a new high school team here, and I don't think that he's caught on yet. And I don't even know if he could do it with the sports that he's in right now. But my brother is a diehard tournament guy, has been for 25 years, and I just keep waiting for the day that Eli says, "Hey, can I go fish with Uncle Kevin?" And then it's going to be on, because he's got that competitive streak where he needs to win, and he's just going to get.
I was going to say, with his wrestling background, yeah, he is not afraid of the grind that comes with it, and he'll probably look at the fishing grind and go, "Yeah, whatever, that's not a grind. let's go."
Yeah, eating. Yeah. It's all about eating right now. He could eat while he's doing anything. He'd be happy.
Right.
It's maintaining that weight class.
Well, and one of the things you announced this last year, which I was so stoked about, is that the transition is in the works, or it has. You tell me, that the braid from Vicious Fishing is American made. This is the direction that you've moved the company over to. Talk to me about that. That is super, super cool, man.
Yeah. So you always want to, I say it, you do. I do. I've always wanted to have everything made here. And it's easy for an angler to send in a message to us and say, "Hey, just make it in America." That's not as easy as you think it is.
Exactly.
You don't just start making stuff in America. And so the braid was probably the easier one because there were people in the US that were making braid yet. And so we had worked with them in the past, and it had been a long time, but I reached out to the guys and started talking to them, and it didn't take very long. They were able to take our product, they kind of reverse engineered it, came back and said, "Hey, I think we can make exactly what you're used to, what your anglers love, and the colors exactly the way you want them." And so they did our test runs, we shipped them out. Like Fletcher was one of the main guys, Lester was on there. Those guys start fishing with this stuff, and they're calling me and saying, "If you hadn't told me, I thought it was the same thing." And so that was a great fit for us to be able to move our braid back to America. So we have since, not all product lines yet. They will be, as we run out of inventory, we will be having them made here in America. But our no fade is moving to America. We're actually going to be increasing the color options. In our no fade, we're going to have instead of having just green and yellow, we're going to now have the dark green. We're going to call it Army green.
Love it.
And so we're going to have Army green. We're going to have a black. We're going to have a blue, kind of a sapphire blue color, hopefully to get in some of that inshore saltwater market. And then we're also going to have a pink instead of a yellow.
Wow.
Again, that directly came from Fletcher. He said, "Hey, sometimes when we're fishing, that yellow still blends in. There's still some yellow on the leaves or yellow, lily pads." And that, he said, "Nothing blends with pink." And I was like, "Okay, well, then let's look." And so, I made some more phone calls like we usually do. And, I typically lean on my pro staff to say, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And they're like, "Love it." And so we're going to have 4 colors. I think we're going to roll the price back. I think making it in America is going to make it a little more feasible to bring that price down some, which I know seems counterintuitive, but I think that's going to be the case. And so we'll have that in January. I think in January we'll be able to roll out.
And you said something so I'm in Clearwater, right? I have the worst conditions for bass fishing. Cold, clear water, no grass. That's what we fish out here.
Mm-hmm.
And you said black. You got black coming.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's not a lot of the young guys out there that understand just how well black does disappear in clear water and how it's not an aggressive color to things and how effective it can be. Yeah. So, man, yes, I am interested.
We're excited about the braid. That has been, it's not only helped us, from getting it, it's the supply. And that's really what led us here. As we looked at importing and all the trouble, it just becomes more and more complicated. A lot of people want to point to tariffs. That was not it. To be honest, when you're buying fishing line and you're bringing in as much as we were bringing in, the tariffs don't hurt it too much from a price standpoint because it just waters down to, when you're selling something that costs $5, your cost in that is insignificant. So it didn't change our pricing a lot. It was more of the availability. And so now, if I have a new dealer that calls me in a new store and says, "Hey, I want 24 giant spools of fishing line," and I say, "I only got 12, well, I can have the other 12 in a week or two." It's not, "Hey, I'll have it for you in 5 months."
Right.
And so it was the production timelines that made a huge difference for us. We were able to maintain our price point, have an American-made product. I can go visit the guys. I can talk to the people who are making our product. If we have trouble, if we want to develop something new, we sit in a room with the guys. It's not done,
Love
on
it.
a Zoom call. It felt right. And so we made that decision and moved it all. And so we were able to, all of our standard braid has transitioned. At this point, there's maybe a few spools out there yet. But for the most part, it's all done here. And then everything else will be transitioning, as we need it to in line.
That's exciting. Last thing on the product here, this Descender, this 8-strand +1 sinking braid. What's going on with that?
That was something that was born and it got a lot of press kind of in the middle of the summer. It's a technology thing. The forward-facing sonar guys, they want something that casts a little flatter. Braid tend to have a little bit of a bowl in it when it goes out. So it allows it to cast a little flatter, gets down the water column a little faster. But that's all. I mean, it's really geared to target a fish. I guess would probably be the technology and the idea behind it is, when they're using forward-facing sonar, they're trying to get something in front of a fish. It will allow them to get there as quickly as possible.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and I can tell now the wife's going to be looking at me going, what did you just spend at Vicious?" It's post Christmas. Yeah, Santa Claus
Yeah,
forgot these.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That's awesome, dude. So the product line, like I said, if, folks, if you haven't seen, go take a look. Go through and look at the how to choose a fishing line. Read through that piece there, understand it a little bit better. It's a great section of the website that pulls back, no BS, straightforward, straight shooting, and then yeah, look at the fact that you can get a quality piece of equipment here. And I said this before, Eagle Claw. Eric Ali and I, we talk about this all the time. What folks coming in, or maybe even guys that have been in the industry a long time, what they always put this big emphasis on rod and reel, right? Rod and reel, rod and reel, rod and reel. I'll be honest with you. I am the trailer park swap meet rod and reel guy who is damn proud of it. I've got some reels that cost me $55 brand new that are 8 years old. Now, I'm not going to beat you in a casting contest, but every year I break them down, I re-grease them, I put them back, and they keep running for me.
Turns out they still catch fish.
Turns out. The thing where I tell people this is when I take folks out, with the trips on TPO, a lot of these guys are either fly anglers or they haven't had a chance. I teach them these two things. There's two main deals that are going to be the difference between you getting a grip and grin and not. That is your terminal tackle and your line. Those two things there can make or break your day or break your heart in a bad, fast hurry.
Yeah.
And so, when we're lining them up, it's always spinning gear. That's the thing we introduce folks to, because bait casters, I don't feel like, dealing with bird nest all day long.
Yeah, you're gonna fight it all day. Correct.
And so, yeah, they got their spool of, either the blue or the yellow, that we spool them up with, and then we throw some fluorocarbon leader on it. Usually it's 6 or 8 pound test with a trocar, hook to the end of this thing. And I tell them, I was like, the biggest thing you're going to need is make sure you have a real good set of line cutters, because this line isn't going to break on you.
No,
So if you need to get it loose, you're going to need to cut it with a good set. And number 2, a pair of pliers to get that hook out of the fish's mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so those are good problems to have out there. But yeah, it's so critical, man, having a good line that you trust, and get behind. And the vicious thing, from day one has just been, I love the whole, the get vicious, marketing piece there. The other one I did, really dig on, I was looking, is the shut up and fish. I love it.
The hat I got on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I love it, man.
And that was a little bit of a tongue in cheek, again, at some point you just get tired of hearing the noise, about this technology, that technology. Like, I just shut up and go fishing. Like, I don't care what you're using. If you're having a good time and you're catching fish, I don't care. It sounds good. Let's do that. And so, that's kind of where that all came from, was kind of just having fun with it and going, can't we just all just go fishing? So
here's another great thing for those of you at home watching Friends of the TPO. Right down here on the bottom of the page, you're going to see GovX. You can save up to 30% going through GovX, ordering through Vicious Fishing. Go here, get set up, follow the instructions there. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah. Just go through the bad boy there. This is another thing when we have organizations that are set up like yours, Greg, that support these men and women to make things a little bit more affordable for them. You're already affordable to begin with, so yeah. This is just nuts to me. It's like, oh yeah, on top of that, you're going to get an additional boost. Yeah. The only thing they're left with is an excuse. That's it. We can get them out there on the water inexpensive and
we found that technology and found Gov. You started they're marketing all over the place, and I saw it watching football. I was like, well, what's that? And I got on and looked it up, and sure enough, it was an easy addition to our website to start offering military. It actually works for military, first responders, and teachers.
Love it.
Can go in and get verified, and I think it's a daily, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Every day they can get a 30% off coupon code.
One discount code per day is how it works.
So that's something that we take a lot of pride in, is working with our military first responders, teachers, and supporting those guys who just it's something they sacrifice. They've put in a lot of time, and they're doing things that, in my opinion, they're just doing it for the good.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of reward in it. There's not a lot of, at least financially, there's not a lot of reward in those professions. And
No.
there's so much influence on what we can take, what a lot of us take for granted. That, we just wanted to do what we could. And, I had a couple of guys when we first did it were like, oh, great, another 10% discount. It's like, no, I mean, it's a 30%. That's just what we do. It's not, we just feel like that's important. So
See, now, and you're a civilian like me, right, Greg?
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, neither one of us have ever served.
no,
And I'll tell you, these guys will never say this, but I look at some of these organizations that go, here, 5% discount to veterans, and I want to choke them. All right, I'll be honest with you. I call no holds barred on this. I will step forward and say, look, if you're going to support them, then support them. That's
yeah,
not even an employee discount, for the love of Pete. To
yeah,
me, it seems to me that they want to say that they're doing something and not actually do something, and I
yeah.
know that's ungrateful of me to say that. I don't mean it that way. Like you said, I agree with you.
I think
These
there's a
folks,
line there between being a marketing employee and being truly trying to support.
yes,
We would, I mean, if I was just independently wealthy, it would probably be like hey, you get X amount free a day. We have to make some money to keep the doors open.
100%.
Have to do that, but we try to do what we can and can afford to do, and so that's how that came about. Was
Yep,
just this is what I think we can afford to do, and still make a little money to keep the lights on and
I love it.
support. So yeah,
And we do the same thing in the nonprofit space. What we deal with is, folks want to see that 90% of a dollar goes to the programs. And I'm like, yeah, well, if 10% is the only thing going to operations, that business will not be in business very long.
no,
Unfortunately, you need people to run it, right? So, and
it
that's
costs
what,
money to operate for
yeah.
sure.
And that's what we said before, collaboration. That's how we do this together, is where we both pay the bills, we both keep the lights on, and we take care of people, serving those that serve. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Talk to
So
me real before I. Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, we were going kind of down the line, and you talked about the braid. Another one that you probably maybe haven't seen is our monofilaments. So we started. It was around July. We started the process. We are now spooling, so we're back to putting about 80% of our cost of our monofilaments back in the U.S. So
No kidding.
updated packaging. If I had one, I would show it to you. But we are now spooling, so we're bringing it in. So there's some news there. You guys will be the first to hear it. But about 3 weeks ago, we started on some of our higher volume stuff that we can afford to bring back. We are back stateside with it as well, extruding monofilament back in the United States. We placed
That
our
is huge.
orders 3 weeks ago. So we are going to be moving as we can. Again, it costs money. Things can be a little expensive at times, but we are in the process of moving our monofilaments back to the U.S. as well. And so right now, what we did is we've got bulk imported, and we're having it spooled and boxed, and all of our boxes and labels and all of our materials for all of that and labor are being done here in the States. And then, as I said, come January, I think we'll get our first shipments of monofilament that's being extruded here in the U.S. And my hopes is that we will, over time, be able to move all of it here. It's a costly venture, as I was saying.
I bet.
It's easy to say just make it in America. That's not always the case. I just being honest, it took me months to talk a previous manufacturer who had quit making fishing line, to talk them back out of retirement and saying, hey, can you guys go back to extruding fishing line and making me a product? And so it was not an easy thing, by any means, but excited that we're going to be able to. It's going to be a large portion because, again, it's the high volume stuff, our panfish lines in the high vis yellow.
Talk to me. Yeah, the difference between the ultimate and, like, say, panfish. What is the difference between just the standard braid and panfish? What makes it a panfish or a mono?
So they're the same monofilaments, the same recipe. The difference is in the sizes of the spools, the line diameters, the color options.
I see.
Like in panfish we sell mostly high vis. We have a little bit of clear that gets sold, but for the most part, high vis. And then in ultimate, you can get it in green and clear.
Love it.
In the catfish, and then you'll notice the catfish monofilaments, the same high vis yellow line that we're getting in the panfish, except it starts at 14 and goes up to 40-pound test. So it's just in the difference in size of diameters, different color options, different packaging, different spool sizes.
Gotcha.
That seems relevant to, those different fish. And
Good stuff. Good stuff.
anyway, excited about that. It looks like we're going to be able to move some more stuff back to America for all the same reasons. It's just, it's
Supply chain, right?
just supply chain. And,
Yeah.
For us, it's having stuff in stock, being able to get things quickly, being able to talk to people who are actually manufacturing it, being able to address issues or problems or, whatever we've got to do there. So we're making that effort to come back, and it feels good. I'll be honest. For me, it's a good thing. It doesn't make us any more money than we were making before. It's just, I feel better about it. I feel good that we're here, that I have people going to work. They've had to hire shifts to take on our stuff. They've added machinery. So that's all cool. And, that's what we were looking for, is having that ability to do that. So
I love it. I love it, man. Yeah, that's exciting, and I know this year we're gonna be lining out with a lot more mono than we have in the past. I had a guy that got himself an early Christmas present given to him, a Bass Pro card, and he started asking me about, what line should I look at? I'm like, look, it is clear water out here, so I'm gonna fluoro always, but you can't go wrong. Save the money, just get yourself a good small diameter mono. Start with that, and then work your way up to getting expensive, with some of the line choices. Plus, tie-in knots and such is so much easier to learn with mono. And
as the fluorocarbon's great once you get used to it. But when you first start fishing with fluorocarbon, I don't know if I've ever seen one that starts with it and thinks, man, this stuff's great.
Exactly.
It takes some time to get used to it because it does have a little more memory. It's tough as nails. There's no doubt about it, but you just have to learn how to fish with it and control it, and understand it's not monofilament. It's just a different product, and it's never going to act like a monofilament. I say that we've got one that's pretty close. Our Tora line is very close, but it's also $72 a spool. It's very expensive.
I was going to say, I used a pile of that a couple of years ago. I loaded up on that Tora, and
Great
I was impressed. Yeah, that was like,
it
okay.
costs a lot to manufacture. It's a very high-end line. And so that's why that price point's up there. It's not that it costs me the same to make it. We just make a bunch of money. It just costs a lot to manufacture it, but it's great stuff. There's no doubt, but it's not something you're going to spool up a bunch of rods with and go fish for bluegill. So
Exactly. So to wrap things up here, you are out in Indiana. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And you have been an outdoorsman. You love hunting. I know hunting is a big deal for you, not only just fishing. Talk to me a little bit about that, about what what you find out there, what you love to do out in the outdoors. Talk to me a little bit on that.
I'm probably your traditional outdoors guy, probably more like everybody else than most would imagine. I just like being out there. If I've given the choice between hunting and fishing, I had to choose. You get to do one or the other for the rest of your life. I'm going to choose to hunt. I've always loved hunting. There's something about it that I just can't get enough of. Turkey hunting's my favorite.
Love it.
Absolutely cannot get enough turkey hunting. We get a very short season in Indiana. You get one bird, but I will take every person who says, hey, I've got some turkeys over here, and would you come take me? Yes. I will be there. We'll make it happen. So I love it. It's something I've always enjoyed. I enjoyed deer hunting. I'm not going to say it lost something for me, but it gets harder to do as you own a business. Because when you're just sitting, I'm not very good at sitting still. And so when I'm just sitting there in a tree stand and my mind starts wondering about all the things I should be doing besides just sitting here. And so that tends to take a little bit of the joy out of it. Unless I'm there, the last few years, it's really been about my son, and I've hunted with a lot of buddies' kids that wanted to go deer hunting for the first time.
Love it.
Obviously, that makes it a little easier because, for one, you're not waiting for some giant deer, so you're not just sitting there. Typically, the first buck that walks out, regardless of size, is the one they want. And so we've had some fun over the last several years of just hunting that way. And this was the first year that I kind of went and hunted on my own again. And I don't know, it's been 5 or 6 years that, I've just always spent my time, and there's only so much meat you need. And so my son will shoot 2 or 3 a year. And it's like, okay, well, I don't need to shoot any because he's already got enough meat for us for the year. So this year he was old enough, and he's been with me since he was, 8. So he's been in the stand for 6 or 7 years. And this year I said, hey, you're going to go sit, I'll make sure you get to your stand, but you're there by yourself, and I'm going to go hunt on my own. And And so I did shoot a good one this year. I got my buck this year, and that's the
Nice.
first one I've killed in many, many years. But I had a good time. And then we do every year. I shoot a couple of does, but fortunate that that's not a real complicated thing on the property we hunt. And so we supply another family that likes deer meat and can only and needs 2 or 3 more, so we share with them. And so that's always a good time. But I love the hunting side of things. Grew up small game. My dad was not a big game hunter. He was rabbits and squirrels, and it's probably my favorite thing, squirrel hunting. I still think it's fun to sneak out there and slip around in the woods. And I've been teaching my son Eli for many years about it. And I like to just kind of dig at him. Although, again, he's getting older and it's getting easier for him. But I'd say, dude, until you can sneak around and shoot 5 squirrels, you've got some work to do. But he's starting to get to a point where he can do that. So I like to go out. It became kind of an unspoken competition going on. It's like, you go this way, I'm going to go this way. And I'd love to come back with 5 after about an hour, and he's still out there trying to get them. And when he comes back, you give him a little jab. It's like, hey, you got work to do, dude. You just not sneaky enough out there yet. But he's getting really good at it. So, I think he's catching on to how to sneak around and when to move and not move. And I think that's critical for kids in the outdoors, is to get out and they need to make some mistakes. They're going to learn some things. And so as soon as you think your kid's old enough and safe with the weapon and is going to be okay, I turned him loose and said, go get him. So
I love it.
Always been an outdoors guy.
And it's an awesome deal too, between a husband or between a father and a son too, man, to have that kind of, that relationship and that competition. It's always there. I always got worried that the moment he stops competing with me, now he's taking pity on me. So I'm like, all right, that's it.
Hey, I'm there. In a lot of ways, I'm already there with both my son and my daughter. My son in the outdoors, and then, like I said, he's getting bigger, faster. My daughter is a golfer.
Oh, dang.
And at this point, she has not yet beat me, but she got very close before her sophomore season, and I'm fairly sure that had we been playing by the end of her season, she would have beat me. But I didn't take that chance. But I have a feeling this summer I'm in for my first beating by her in golf, and I'm just going to have to take that and deal with it, because she's not going to have pity on me. And I've told her, she started playing when she was a freshman, and I just told her, I said, I'll never let you beat me, ever. If you beat me, it's because you beat me. I didn't let you beat me. And,
love it. Yeah.
So I know that's coming. My wife's very competitive. She's a turkey hunter. She loves, so she and I turkey hunt together every year.
So cool.
She did not grow up that way. Her dad likes to hunt, but she did not grow up in the outdoors. But I've got her fishing and hunting and getting out there a little bit. So, we all kind of get out in our own ways and do our thing. My daughter fished with me when she was little, but as she got older, she can fish. She just says she doesn't think it's fun anymore. And it's like, well, maybe one day you'll come back to it. I'm not going to force the issue. And
I was going to say, you've planted the seed there, and it'll be around. I know my daughter would go out fishing with me in her teens. Only, to be honest with you, I could tell it was just to spend some time with Dad. She'd see her brother and I going out, a lot, and then she wanted to. She knew that if she was going to spend time with Dad, that's the best way to do it, because he's going to be out fishing eventually. So, yeah. So I still, one of the coolest moments that I remember of her whole time in college was she was up in Duluth. I was living in Minnesota at the time. She was up in Duluth. I was down in Rochester. There was a tournament going on midway, just north of the cities up there at a lake. And I told her, I'm going to be up here for a couple days for practice. If you want to get lunch or something. She's like, how about I come down and just jump in the boat with you? I'm like, yes, holy crap, yes. So she came down from college there one day and just spent the entire day. Poor girl was just roasting herself because it was middle of summer Minnesota heat, going on. But we spent the whole day with some Subway, on the boat and running around the lake, this and that. And that was still, to this day, is one of the fondest memories I had, spending time with her out there in college.
I think that she'll come back around. I do. She's got a lot going on. She's into a lot of activity. She's very, very, very active in lots of different things. Active in church, believe it or not. My daughter's 17 and teaches religious ed to elementary kids. So
that's awesome.
Blows my mind.
Doing something right, Dad. Doing something right.
It's good. Life is good. I think the outdoors has had a big part of that, and we'll always believe that keeps you grounded in what's going on. And so,
faith, family, fishing, and tradition. I love it, man. Folks, make sure, get over to getvicious.com. Check out the website. Lots of great info out there. On social medias, follow them along at Vicious Fishing. Give a like and a subscribe there. They've got a great pile of information coming out.
Check me out too. You know, follow. You can see what I'm doing. I'm out there. Greg with Vicious on Instagram. I do my best to try and keep up with what we're doing out as a family. And
what is the handle at Instagram again?
Greg with Vicious.
Greg with Vicious. Let me make sure I got that right. Like this?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, go follow on Instagram.
Yeah, you'll see a little bit more of less of just what's going on in the company, but you know, typically that's where we're out hunting, fishing, playing, traveling, whatever we're doing. I try to keep stuff out there. I'm not great at it. And, I don't put everything out there. I'm not one of those oversharers, but
right.
Fun's happening in the outdoors or the family's doing something cool, we'll post it and talk about it.
This is the hamburger I'm eating.
Yeah. No, you're not going to catch that at all for sure. So don't worry about oversharing. You won't have that problem. You may be asking, what did you do in the last 2 weeks? But you're not going to be asking what I had for lunch last night. So
I love it, man. Greg, I'm excited about 26. I think it's going to be an awesome year. As long as we get done what we need to get done on our end, we're going to have some awesome trips, and it's going to be a ton of fun. Brother, thank you so much for taking the time and coming and spending it with us here.
Thanks for having me.
You bet, dude. This is where we need to start making this more of a deal throughout the year. We'll get you on the show.
Just let me know. I'm here.
Awesome stuff, folks. Go give Vicious Fishing a follow. You can thank me later. Check it out. Get you some of the line out there. If you come out with us, you're going to get the line one way or another because that's what we're using. But more importantly, go get you some of this stuff here. If you need any help with that, hit me up on a DM there. I'll help you guide you through some of the stuff that you want to pick up. And also you can DM these guys here at Vicious. Just ask questions. They'll help you, figure out the product that you need. As always, for us on the YouTube side, make sure to smash that subscribe. We could use the help with that. That helps us down the line there. Greg, hang out with me after we roll out of this bad boy here, and we'll finalize this up.
Yeah, sounds good.
Good stuff. Folks, remember, do that buddy check. It's Christmas season, around New Year's, this and that. Make smart decisions. There's the dad part of me going out. Do that buddy check, all right? Check on folks. Do a little text. Do whatever it takes out there. As always, folks, tight lines. Be safe. Take care of each other. And God bless.
See you guys.